Good morning, dear students. I hope you remember what we learnt in the previous lecture, and it was the reaction of metals when they are burnt in air. How do they behave? So today we are going to learn about the next property, chemical property of the metals, and that is that what happens to them when they are treated with water. Okay, so we are going to study about this today. What happens when metals react with water? Okay, so the next property we are going to discuss about. Like in this case also, there is different behavior of metals with the reactivity on the basis of the reactivity with water. Normally what happens, metal, it reacts with water and forms metals. On reaction with water, they form metal oxide plus hydrogen. Hydrogen gas is formed. Understand? So same way, see, this is the general equation that you have to follow. Okay, this is the generalized concept on this basis only the different reactions will be shown. Now when we talk about metal oxides plus water, now how the reaction will proceed? They are going to produce metal hydroxide. Okay, so it's a basic in nature. Metal hydroxide are formed. Fine. So metals react with water and produce a metal oxide and hydrogen gas. While metal oxides, when they react with water, they produce metal hydroxide. Okay, that are soluble in water. Okay, then they form metal hydroxide. So, but all metals, they do not react with water. It's not that each and every metal is going to react with water. Only few, the reactive ones. Metals like just potassium, sodium, they react vigorously with cold water. In case of sodium and potassium, okay, the reaction is so violent, the reaction becomes so violent and highly exothermic in nature that hydrogen which is evolved, it catches fire. Okay, when we put potassium in water or we put water on potassium, then what happens? KOH is formed and along with it hydrogen gas. Now this hydrogen gas, what is formed, it quickly catches fire. As a result, what it becomes? Exothermic in nature. Same way when sodium reacts with water, the same thing happens. It also reacts and forms NaOH and hydrogen gas is released, and this hydrogen gas is going to catch fire. Okay, so let us see the reaction. Potassium plus water forms, what it will form? It will form KOH plus hydrogen gas. Okay, now this hydrogen gas that is formed is going to catch fire and it will become what? Exothermic in nature. Heat energy is released. Fine, heat energy is released. So let me balance it. 2K, okay, and 2KOH, 2H2O, 2KOH. Fine. Next, let us see how sodium Na plus H2O gives NaOH plus hydrogen gas plus heat energy. It means, see, when we are writing plus heat, it means it is exothermic in nature. If we write here plus energy, means we are giving energy, then we say it is endothermic in nature. Okay, when the heat is on the either on the arrow, or if we write this side, then it becomes endothermic. When the heat is written with plus sign, that it means heat is released, that is heat energy is evolved, so exothermic in nature. Okay, so this is how the reaction will take place. Fine. Then next is the reaction of calcium with water. Now calcium shows a different behavior. What it does? The calcium reacts with water, but it is less violent. This is highly vigorous. It's a very highly vigorous reaction, that as soon as the water is put, hydrogen evolved catches fire. But in the case of calcium, calcium also reacts with water and forms CaOH whole twice plus H2 gas. Okay. So the reaction is going to take place and hydrogen gas, but it is less violent. What will happen? Though it is exothermic in nature, but it does not catch fire. Okay. The container in which the reaction is taking place, it will become very hot. Fine. So it is exothermic in nature, but it does not catch fire. Okay. Why it is so? Because calcium starts floating because of the bubbles of hydrogen. Hydrogen gas is formed, and because of that, what happens? The hydrogen gas becomes it sticks to the surface of the calcium and starts forming bubbles. As a result, it is not able to catch fire, and calcium starts floating on the surface. Okay, so this is how the reaction takes place. Then next comes magnesium. Magnesium does not react with cold water, it reacts with hot water to form magnesium hydroxide. Obviously, hydroxide of magnesium will be formed because our general reaction is this. Okay, then it also starts floating due to the bubbles of hydrogen gas. Okay, sticking to its surface. As a result, what will happen? It's not going to catch fire. But metals like aluminium, zinc, they do not react either with cold water or hot water, but they react with steam. Okay, they react with water in vapor form, and they form metal oxide and hydrogen gas. Okay, like aluminium, when it reacts with water, it is going to form what? Al2O3. So let me write it here. Al plus H2O. The reaction will proceed and form Al2O3 plus hydrogen gas. 3 and 3. Okay, 3 to Al2O3. Same way, iron. Iron also is not going to react neither with cold nor with hot water, but will react with the vapor of the water. So that's why what happens? There is corrosion of iron objects. Okay, so Fe, 3Fe plus 4H2O gives Fe3O4, ferric oxide plus hydrogen gas, 4H2O. Okay, so this is how the reaction will take place. Now, the metals just like lead, copper, silver, gold, they do not react with water at all. And this is the reason that people are fond of wearing jewelry, because they do not react with any kind of water. Okay, now let us come to the next one. What happens when metal react with acids? What happens? This is the third chemical property that we will discuss now. When a metal reacts with acid, so it is not new to you, this you have learned in your previous chapter, that is acid, base and salt. So what happens when metals react with acids? So the next one is this. Okay. So this is the concept that you have learnt earlier. So the general concept is, or the general reaction is, metal plus dilute acid. Don't write here concentrated. It is always dilute acid. Reacts with metals and forms salt plus what? Hydrogen gas. So it's a concept that you have learnt in earlier chapter. Okay, let us see how. Like zinc plus HCl, reaction takes place and ZnCl2 plus hydrogen gas towards it. Okay, same way another, let us take zinc plus H2SO4 makes ZnSO4 plus hydrogen gas. Okay, like this the reaction will take place. So, but there are some exceptions again here, like the case of if we talk about hydrogen gas, it is being evolved everywhere with all the reactions within the metals and acids. But if we talk about nitric acid, we will always consider either HCl or H2SO4. We are not going to consider HNO3. You know why? Because HNO3 or nitric acid is an oxidizing agent. What do you mean by oxidizing agent? Which provides oxygen. Okay. So when the reactions of metal with nitric acid takes place, what will happen? The hydrogen gas that is produced will be oxidized and will produce water. Okay. So when any metal reacts with nitric acid, what it will do? It is going to oxidize hydrogen gas and convert it into water. But there are two metals which do not allow this, like manganese and magnesium. Okay, when these magnesium and manganese, when they react with HNO3, then they do not allow the oxidation of hydrogen gas to take place. So you need to remember it. Hydrogen gas is not evolved when a metal reacts with nitric acid. Okay, it is because HNO3 is a strong oxidizing agent. When any metal reacts with HNO3, hydrogen gas is not produced. Instead, water is produced. Okay, why it is so? Because HNO3 is a strong, this you need to learn, remember, strong oxidizing agent. What it does? It will oxidize hydrogen gas to water. Okay, so what will happen? We don't get hydrogen gas, we will not get it. So, but magnesium, there are exceptions, but what happens? Magnesium and manganese, Mn. These are two metals which when react with HNO3, they are not going to evolve hydrogen gas. They won't evolve hydrogen gas. Is it okay? So I hope you will remember that with two metals, manganese and magnesium, they are not going to react with the hydrogen, with the HNO3, and they will react with the HNO3 but will not produce hydrogen gas on reaction. Will produce hydrogen gas, not the water. Okay, it is an exception over here. So now by this time we have learned about the reaction of metals and metals with acids. Now let us come to the next property, that what happens to the metals when they react with solution of other metal. So this is again the concept from the acid, bases and salt, first chapter. That is which chapter? The chemical reactions and equations. Over there you learnt about the concept of displacement reactions. So how do metals react with reaction of metals with solution of metal salts. So the reaction goes like this: metal A plus salt solution of B. The reaction will follow, and what will be formed? Salt solution of A plus what will be released? Metal B. Okay, the reaction goes like this. What is going to basically happen here? The reactive metals will displace the less reactive metal from their compounds, okay, in solution or molten form. Let us take an example. CuSO4 plus Fe. Okay, it is taken in aqueous solution and blue color solution is formed. Okay, blue color solution is formed when copper sulfate is dissolved in water. And when the reaction takes place, what happens? Fe is going to displace copper from copper sulfate and will form FeSO4 plus Cu. So how will come to know? There will be change of color. And what will be the change? It will become pale green in color. Pale green solution is formed. Okay, so like this the reaction takes place. Now how it is happening? It is happening on the basis of the reactivity. So if you remember your chapter 1, in that we had learnt about displacement reactions. And in displacement reactions what we had learnt? That the reaction takes place on the basis of the reactivity of the metal. Now metal A, Fe, salt solution of B, CuSO4. Copper is less reactive than iron. So what will happen? Fe is going to replace copper and it will become FeSO4 and this copper is set free. Okay, so this is how the reaction goes on. So it basically depends upon the reactivity of the metal. Okay, now this is going to happen because of the reactivity series. Okay, now which metals are more reactive and which are less reactive? So according to their reactive orders we make this possible. Is it okay? So let us see what is the reactivity series. In chapter number 1, it was on the basis of the reaction of the metals, we arranged some metals on the basis of their reactivity. So reactivity means like on top is the one which is most reactive and it decreases as we go down. The reactivity decreases as we go down the series. So let us see how the reactivity series is maintained. The reactivity series of the metal, how do they show their reactivity order? Reactivity series, it's very important to know, because if you have learned this reactivity series, then and only then you will be able to tell whether the reaction is going to take place or not. We call it also activity series. So first is potassium, then comes sodium, potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, okay, then comes aluminium, zinc, clear, then comes iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, silver and gold. So let us see the symbols also. Potassium K, Na, Ca, Mg, Al, Zn, iron Fe, Pb, hydrogen, Cu, Hg, Ag and A. So this is the activity series or reactivity series on the basis of their relative reactivities of the metals. Okay, the most reactive is potassium, okay, and the reactivity decreases as we go down, and least reactive is gold. Least reactive So this series in which the metals are arranged on the basis of their decreasing reactivity, that is known as reactivity series. Most reactive. Okay, so this will tell about the reactions, whether the reactions are going to take place. Now let us see here, aluminium and magnesium. Magnesium can displace aluminium, but aluminium cannot displace this. Okay, like the reaction that we did, CuSO4 plus Fe, arrow, what will be formed? FeSO4 plus Cu. But if it is written like this, FeSO4 plus Cu, then what do you think reaction will go? It will be held. It is going to take place. No reaction. Why? Because of the reactivity of the metals. Fe is more reactive than copper, so copper cannot displace it. But in this case, because iron, just see, iron, where is iron? It can displace copper, but copper cannot displace iron. So on the basis of this only, we can tell about the reaction of metal A with the solution of metal B. Okay, so which is more reactive is going to displace, otherwise the reaction won't take place. So this was about the chemical property of the metals on the basis of the reactivity of metals and how they can show the displacement.